So this is it. Thank you. So when I say this is it, I'm not pointing to the sense that you can have an experience of now. That it's a point in time separate from everything else that you can find. That's a misunderstanding. That's not what's being said. What's being said is that, so that sense of separation, that sense of now, or this, for a person, is exclusive. It excludes, or it tries to exclude, sort of like a past and a future. It sort of tries to exclude, thoughts and feelings and emotions and all these other things that seem actually troubling to that separate sense. It's an effort of that separate sense to find a better experience. What I actually mean by this is it. It's actually not exclusive of anything. It doesn't exclude anything. It's all inclusive, including the sense of being separate. That's included in, obviously, because it appears. This isn't saying that there isn't anything that doesn't appear, that there's something that shouldn't or should appear, that there's a right or a wrong way for this to appear. All it says is that this is it in the sense that it's already done. It's already complete. Even the sense that something needs to happen, the sense that this needs to be understood, or the effort to make it a now or exclusive or anything else. It's all done in the sense that it's complete in the sense that this isn't about anything. It's completely free, exactly as it is. It is not about, it has no intention to be anything or become anything or evolve or develop. It's done. It's not trying to become a better what is. It's whole. It's complete, exactly as it is. Now the difficulty is that can't be understood. It's not about understanding. It's not about direct experience. It's not about being anything in particular. It's that there is nothing about what we're talking about that in the end can truly be understood. There isn't enough time to understand what we're talking about. So there isn't, as it is already out, or the time is the timeless appearing, it isn't about anything happening, not even the falling away of a me, which doesn't actually happen, because there isn't a me to fall away. So the meeting is actually, it's a sharing of absence. The appearance is also absence. It is and it isn't. It's just an appearance without meaning, without reason, without purpose. It's just free. Yeah.
It's very interesting because if I think back on any of the glimpses, the only thing that I can remember was when I was aware of it already.
Yeah, oh, totally.
Yeah, so when that's in like, oh, then it was over already.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I can remember.
Yeah.
And even if I imagine as to what it was like, I still only imagine from the perspective of awareness. So
that's right.
For some separate point.
Yeah.
it feels like easy enough to comprehend when you say
Yeah.
there's no effort being done, everything's just happening. That feels somewhat kind of...
Well, I didn't say there wasn't any effort. But...
Well, like no one's sitting in a chair
Yeah.
or breathing or
Yeah.
blood pumping
Yeah.
through their veins. It's just
Yeah.
what is, right?
Yeah. But that includes the sense that someone is doing it.
Right.
Yeah, that can happen.
And you've also said, like, show me something that's not this.
Yeah, that's a little misleading, I find, yeah. Because that goes back to a now. That more speaks to a person and finding a now. Show me something that isn't now, you could say. Same thing. I think it's a little misleading. I wouldn't say it now.
Right. I just think, like, it's somehow I'm capable of understanding that.
Yeah.
There's just 40 trillion cells in this body that are made of little atoms, and it's all just energy. Like, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that's not what I said either.
But when you say, like, this is all there is,
Yeah.
that kind of just...
Well, actually, I think you can. I think, and there's a real differentiation. So, in the personal experience, it's obviously all there is now. That's obvious. That all you can ever be aware of is now.
Mm-hmm.
And that has some implications, but they remain superficial. They remain in that illusory world of separation. But that isn't what I'm actually saying. I'm saying not only is there not a now, but it's actually it's what isn't in time. That sounds like there's something out of time. What's timeless appearing as time. It's all inclusive.
But it really seems like there's multiple different what is.
Oh, in the story of the individual, there's 8 billion of them, or 9 billion, depending on how many people there are.
Right.
But that's only in the individual story. The individual, like if there's a story there, that story will be one of 9 billion people. And the actuality is there aren't any people. And really, there's only one individual. There aren't 9 billion of them. All the individual knows is itself. So the 9 billion people are itself. In the same way as when there isn't any one, there aren't 9 billion people. There's no one anywhere. There aren't any people.
But when that body walks out of this room, there's a different what is than what's the what is.
I love this. Yeah, but I'm sorry. That's just because that comes up a lot, and I guess it is a sticking point. I get it. I get how can everything be one if my experience is different than another body having a different experience, and it's just the fact that it's all nothing, or all timeless, is hidden from that separate experience through the sense that what is real. So this is real for me, so it's real for 9 billion other me's. Whereas in reality, it's all nothing appearing as what is. It's just this. It gets sort of heady and complicated, but it really is. This is what's longed for. It's just hidden by the sense that somebody knows what this is.
Jim, you said yesterday that maybe it would be okay to say that this is kind of like a hologram in some way.
Yeah.
But I think you said, but not an illusion, because I believe you said because illusions don't have apparent existence.
Yeah. Well, no, don't have any real, are just completely illusory. It doesn't have any reality to it. The me, and I'm talking about the me, is a self-confirming reality. I am because I know I am. That's the only content of that sense of separation.
Because when I think of an illusion, I almost think of like a magic trick. Like if someone does like a trick with cards, for example.
Yeah.
Like, something really.
It is kind of a magic trick.
Okay.
The sense that this is part of a continuum
Right.
is in the same way sort of a thing. It's just not intellectual.
Okay.
It's not an intellectual magic trick. It's an energetically body magic trick that has the sense of moving through time in a real environment or a real happening, rather than there being just this singular immediacy appearing as everything.
Okay. So it can be like a magic trick, since magic tricks they use things that, like, it's just the way when you see a magic trick, what you're seeing is not what's actually happening.
Yeah, exactly.
But there is some kind of existence there. It's just
Well,
not
there isn't any existence to the magic trick at all, really. You're seeing something that isn't there. And that's exactly what it is for the me.
Okay.
The sense of separation is something that isn't actual. But it still seems to happen. You can't tell the me it's not.
I was thinking more that, like with magic trick, what you're seeing is not what is actually happening, but like you're just misunderstanding what you're looking at.
Totally. Like I said, it's intellectual. No, it's not, because it's not an intellectual activity. Understanding what we're talking about here, fair enough. I mean, it happens or it doesn't or whatever. But really what we're talking about isn't limited to understanding. Yeah.
Is the apparent now, is the timeless now apparent?
Yeah, well, all there is what appears. And it's nothing.
And it's nothing.
It's nothing appearing or absent.
Calling it the sense of separation, to me that feels like that's already saying too much. Because, like, if all there is apparently is what's coming in through the senses, my thoughts and my feelings, it seems like that leaves no room for separation. That separation.
Oh, there isn't any.
Right. So why call it that?
Oh, because there is a sense of separation.
You mean there's like a consensus that?
No, the individual, the sense of being a person is the sense of separation.
So where does that fit in my five senses and thoughts? And feelings?
Well, which bit? The separation, which there isn't any of, is your five senses. No separation, which is the natural, which is naturally this, is just five senses for no one.
How is it, when you say that it's obvious when the illusion stops?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Well, it's not obvious the illusion stopping, but it's obvious that everything is nothing,
Okay.
or that it's timeless.
And how is that different than the illusion stopping?
Because there isn't anyone to know the illusion stopped.
What?
Aww. And you've already paid. I'd be poor if there were refunds. Well, I'm poor anyway.
This is some kind of sick joke. You're indoctrinating the youth.
Would you call it the sense of existence, the sense of separation?
Existence is a funny word. I don't know. Existence, if you look it up in the dictionary, means to stick out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so in a sense, there's a parent sticking out.
To me, the sense of existence means I am alive.
Yeah. So when we're talking about the me, what we're talking about is the sense that what's happening, that's hard to get. It's hard to know what I mean when I say that everything is real, because there's nothing to compare it to as an individual. Sure. But it's the sense that what's happening, particularly in the body, is mine. Yeah. It's my thoughts, it's my feelings. I'm in charge, it's my action. my decision.
My responsibility.
Yeah. That's fundamentally like what happens in the body.
And the thoughts correlate with those feelings of me.
Well, there actually isn't any evidence that there's a me. There's only a self-confirming sense of me when there's a me.
But the self-confirming is collaborate. You know.
No, it's not like that. I mean, in a sense, if there's a me, it gives energy to thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
But in the end, there's actually nothing. There isn't a me. So there isn't anything referring to a me. It has apparent effects, the sense of me. But even that is a story about a me, which there isn't one.
But it strengthens it. It feels like it's
strengthening and weakening, that's another story. Yeah, I mean, it does in a story. You can tell a story about it strengthening and weakening a me.
Yeah. It's a problem.
Not really.
But as long as there's a me there, it will always look to confirm itself.
Well,
I think that it does.
Well, it doesn't. It's not actually an action. If it were an action, you could stop doing it.
Yeah.
It's just a function of that separate sense to know itself.
Yeah.
So if there is no evidence that there is a me, is there any evidence that there is no me? Or sorry.
No.
Yeah, but there's no evidence that there is no me.
No.
Okay. Really?
No. It's not it's not a conclusion.
Okay.
It's not a new position.
Yeah.
If it were, I could tell you what it was like.
Okay.
I could explain it to you.
It sort of goes along the way that you can't talk about it. Also goes along the line with what I said, that the only thing that I remember.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. It's a family. It's just.
Yeah. It isn't actually. It's this. It's just sometimes this appears as the sense of separation, which feels like what's longed for is, but it's not. It's this.
Well, it's to that which wants to grab it.
No, it isn't. That's just the story. that wholeness goes away.
Not there.
There is only there.
I've heard some people say, like, you are everything. Like, you're the cup, you're the tree, you're the
Yeah.
stars.
Yeah. Well, what does that mean? So if you are everything, what is the you that's everything?
Just everything.
Well, but what does that mean?
I guess it just means there's only everything ever, which is what you're saying.
And that it's nothing. Yeah.
Jim, when you said earlier that it's not about the me falling away,
Yeah.
is that, are you saying something different than what Tony Parsons said when he talks about the me dying in his case, or having a glimpse, and then like he seems to talk about an actual event or something that precipitated his whatever you want to call it.
Well, if you're talking about walking in the park.
I don't know.
Oh, right. Because there's a story of him walking in the park, and there's a story of him standing on a carpet.
Okay.
So I just want to know which story you're talking about.
No, I think it's the park. But are you sort of skipping that? I mean,
No, when I say it's not about it, what I'm pointing out is there's nothing right or wrong with there being a sense of separation. It isn't this, the appearance isn't more or less timeless or more or less whole because of a sense of separation. So there's no intention in this meeting of trying to make something happen, of trying to get a me, inform a me, change a me, get a me to be less or fall away. And in the end, I mean, just if I can, it doesn't actually fall away. So there isn't actually a me. I understand there's the sense and the experience of separation, but this is already whole and already timeless. This isn't coming from there is no story to this appearance. The me is a story of the appearance.
Right.
There isn't one.
But you're not. I mean, this isn't a teaching. It's not an approach. But it is. You call it a message, right? So message sounds.
Well,
like
but if you
it's supposed
push me on it, I'll tell you there isn't one. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's true. Yeah, I say it's a message, but there isn't. The message, if there is one, is absence.
But it sounds like if I get the message.
So it's a black hole.
Right. Kind of like that.
Yeah. It sucks everything in.
Yeah. Okay. But some of us in this room may leave here and say, I don't think there isn't a me. And some of us might leave this room and say, I think there isn't a me. I mean, isn't that getting the message sort of? Or
Well, it makes no difference.
makes no difference.
If you leave here with anything, it's a story.
Yeah.
If you leave, it's a story. You're here forever, man. Hotel California.
Right. Okay.
Oh, you didn't tell him yet?
We've been here forever.
That's the fine print.
You say black hole, it also feels like a mirror, like a pure mirror.
That doesn't reflect anything.
Or that reflects everything.
No, I feel like the message, all efforts die.
Right. But I guess what I'm saying is that it just like points out this, like,
Yeah.
and in that sense, it just reflects.
Well, it can't.
whatever it is.
It can't point this out. Because there isn't anyone to point to. And there isn't anything to point to because there isn't anything separate. So I think it's more a mirror that doesn't reflect anything, or where everything gets lost. That's the offer. Lose everything.
Well, wouldn't you say also that there's nothing to lose in the first place?
Oh, totally. But you can't tell the me that.
Huh. Yeah, because the me feels like it does have something.
Oh, totally. It has everything.
Yeah.
Still just dissatisfied.
Right. It just constantly wants to accumulate or like
Hmm.
bring stuff closer
Yeah.
to itself. But
Yeah.
then because it doesn't actually exist, there's no it can't get any closer.
No. Well, all it can do is collect knowing. Even things are just sort of a knowing of having things. It can't actually get anything. It can't actually have anything. And that's a bit of a reflection of the reality that that there isn't anything to have. But in the story, it is I have, I own, I know, I experience.
Would you say that it would rather count one by one to infinity than just accept zero?
Well, it can't accept zero. It can't accept zero.
Why does, when you say this is all there is, that feels limiting? Like if you're saying.
Oh, you were here at the beginning?
You say that.
I did. I explained the whole thing. You'll have to buy the book. It's really expensive. No, it's limiting because it's for the individual. It sounds like it's exclusive. It excludes the past and the future and all these other things. Because for the individual, what is something it can identify is a now. And so now is a position that seems to be separate from the past and the future, seems to be separate from other things. If you follow it all the way, you'll get to a certain sense of detachment, which is then no longer having thoughts or feelings. But that's just a separate, the best that the separate sense can do is reduce, 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 because it's looking for something. And really, when I say this is it isn't actually exclusive or reductive. It's endlessly expansive. It's all inclusive. What's being said by this is it doesn't have a story. It doesn't come from anywhere or go anywhere. And that's all includes. That includes the apparent past, the apparent future, what seems to be appearing now. It's all inclusive. Everything is included in that.
It's all inclusive, but it's not all appearing now. Like what's appearing now is a room with some people in it.
Actually, there is only what appears. And for the individual, that feels reductive. But there isn't anything else than what appears, which is kind of obvious.
Having no story is so beautiful. Can you elaborate more on that?
No. No, it's this. It's all that's left is nothing.
Yeah. Did like your story just?
Yeah, I guess in a sense you can say it went, but it doesn't actually go because it never was. I know it sounds a bit paradoxical. It's not immediate because it doesn't happen. So let's say there's the sense of separation there, and it's waiting for something to happen. But this is already not really in time. So waiting for an event would be waiting for real time to happen. It never does. This is completely new. It's never been. And this is completely new and never been. And so where's the time that you are going to stop being separate? Where is the time?
It's like the me just likes to keep catching itself.
Oh, yeah, self-confirming. It just wants to know it is, yeah. Survival, yeah.
So I had 14 seconds a few months ago where I was chanting. I know it's a story to me, but this is important.
No, I'm just surprised at the 14 seconds. Actually, it isn't. It isn't. It's timeless. It's timeless.
Something timeless happened.
Yeah.
I don't do any psychedelics, but it was very psychedelic feeling.
Yeah.
And it was so fast though, like the seeing that. It was like you know the little toys where you see different views, like landscapes?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember those. The view. Yeah, yeah.
So I clipped myself out, like I was just kind of out.
Yeah.
And I saw this, like my body from above, and I just saw that nothing I could do could ever get that.
Right.
Like at all.
Yeah.
So it really effed with me because it's been months and now I'm back in.
Yeah.
Back as me.
Yeah.
So this is looking for that.
Yeah. Which isn't actually what's longed for.
Yeah, that's true.
It isn't the out-of-body experience, the sense of.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have functioned like that. There was
No,
way.
but it's not what we're talking about.
All right, no, I know. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
okay.
I'm just thinking of my own making sense of that.
That's exactly what it is. No, that is exactly what it is. That's the me wanting to make sense of it tells a story about what it was like, whereas you don't have any idea.
Right.
What you have to do is add a few seconds each time. Eventually you'll get it.
Jim, it seems like some apparent thoughts or apparent words more closely point out this than other ones, even though they all point. Not that they could point.
Well, in the end, there isn't a pointing, but I know what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
Some are less misleading than others.
Right, like the things that are being heard here are less misleading than where you just start talking about, fast food or something. Is that correct?
Oh no, I don't think no, because it's contextual, and so talking about fast food is nothing appearing as talking about fast food, but when there's a sharing or a conversation about the nature which is beyond comprehension, then talking about it as consciousness or something you could find is more misleading than saying this is nothing. And there isn't anyone.
Saying this is nothing is less misleading than talking about this.
Than saying this is what
I
we're
see.
looking for is consciousness.
I see.
Some other object.
So wouldn't it be possible for certain apparent words to cause certain thoughts seeming to arise that are more in line
Oh,
with
totally.
the nature
That's
of
why
things?
that's why I gave up. Well, there aren't any thoughts that relate to the nature of this. But there are some that are more distracting, like anarchy, which is something I don't say anymore.
I guess what I'm getting at is it's not really being communicated, but what's being heard, or the sound that's happening in the seeming room.
Yeah, but the thing is
Yeah.
it's not coming from here. It couldn't possibly come from here.
Right.
Because it's that too.
Right.
There is no difference. This is nothing appearing, this is nothing appearing. This is nothing speaking, that's nothing speaking or hearing. It's all nothing or timelessness appearing. That's it. Absence appearing. That's all there is. So there isn't anything to say about it. But there is, for some reason, a response when there's a question. And the question, if there is a question, it comes from the sense that there's separation or something needs to happen for this to be what's longed for. But it can't be communicated.
Some things can't even attempt to communicate it more than other things.
There's no
It's like-
attempt here to communicate what we're, the nothing. If anything, what does happen, there's a couple of things. What does happen is there might be an openness. And if there's a certain openness when we're talking about these things, there might be some sense of it landing or it being heard or something like that. And that can loosen the sense of separation. There can be a relaxation coming in. There might be beliefs that could be lost about, that explain, this in some way or other.
Is that?
But in the end, there's absolutely no cause for the end of me.
It seems like
because
when
it
you describe,
isn't an end to me.
it seems like that's kind of cause and effect, though, of certain.
Oh, totally. That's what I just said. Yeah.
But it's
I
only
said,
seeming, though. Okay.
in the end, there's no cause for the end of me. Yeah, there's an apparent cause and effect. It's not direct, though. It isn't any. It's interesting because most of the telephone, well, not most, but some of the calls I get are, I don't know what happened. Suddenly, these things aren't happening anymore. I'm not feeling like I normally feel or something. I don't know why. Because the individual isn't the one doing it. A separate sense. Because it's a loss.
Which is so disempowering to hear that.
Yeah.
You know? God
Yeah.
damn it!
Yeah.
I want to make it happen. Even if you accept the fact that you can't.
Yeah. How could you make this happen?
Is there any sacrifice involved
Sacrifice?
with the
Oh,
loss?
I think me loves sacrifice. And it's always listening. If somebody notices,
So there's a loss, but
no one
there
does it.
can't be a sacrifice.
There's
in
no
any
one
way.
does. No one does it.
Yeah.
No, it can't be. Sacrifice is just the individual is I don't know, what would you call it? A positive sense of getting, and it's always trying to add.
So
Where
when
it's
it hears
longed
it's a
for.
loss, it thinks it's going to sacrifice something,
Oh yeah.
but then it's not there.
No. Well, there isn't anything to sacrifice.
Yeah.
The sacrifice would presuppose something owned or had.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah.
It's not, but it's almost immaterial.
Yeah.
It's so nothing.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to sacrifice, and there's no one to sacrifice it.
Yeah. And is there only one perception?
No. There's apparently, I don't know how many perceptions there are. 10,
So even
20.
without the sense of separation.
Well, that sees something.
Yeah.
That body sees something that this doesn't see.
Okay. Because it feels like if there's one me, then there's only one.
Oh, totally. And the perception of the me is that there's 9 billion perceptions,
Okay.
but that's still the perception of the one me, that there's 9 billion perceptions, separate perceptions.
That's still okay. Because if I were to say wholeness is nowhere else, this is wholeness.
Well, there isn't
speaking.
anywhere else.
Okay. So then if it's right here,
Well,
because there's still a position, it's trying to infer, right?
yeah.
And that's not what's happening there.
No, it doesn't happen here, but it's not separate from wholeness.
Right. Because I guess I'm trying to imagine.
Yeah, but
That's
that's
kinda
not
what's
separate
happening.
from wholeness.
Because if this is it, if this is all it, whatever's being seen wouldn't say inferring that there's another that has a different perception.
Oh, if there's an individual, the only difference is the sense that there's a position that has perception that's separate from another position. That's the dream. That there's a position And that position then assumes 9 billion positions.
So when the positions
But
go,
there aren't-
all positions go. which
There
I
are
think
no,
you
there
did
is
say.
no
Okay,
position.
Okay,
I mean, there's an apparent position of the body,
right, where there's
Yeah.
you low.
but it's not anyone's.
Right,
No one has it.
right. Okay.
Do you feel that culture plays any role in like reinforcing or
Yeah, it does.
actually undermining?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cultural message. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter which culture, but there's generally, if the me is confirmed in the sense or the experience that there's a lot of other me's confirming it. Everybody says it. Everybody feels that way.
It's harder to fall away.
It makes it's almost impossible here. There's so much me I can hardly sleep. No, it doesn't make it. It's not related because there isn't actually a New York and there isn't actually a me. And it doesn't actually fall away. It's really simple. Yeah, but in the sense that it's just, this. It's nothing, it's nowhere else.
It seems kind of lucky or fortunate that it's wholeness and perfect. Like, what if it wasn't? What if it was?
Yeah. What would that be like?
That would be terrible. Like, so it's like, it almost seems like you're framing it as a good, beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Perfect and whole.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't say that.
No. It's not it's not good. It is in a way beautiful.
Is there a sense of like, holy crap, this is amazing? Like,
In a very quiet way sometimes. Not mind-blowing anymore.
It's funny because I was thinking about ownership, and it's like not necessarily just actions or responsibilities and stuff like that, but I often think that if I get something, I buy that motorcycle or the next motorcycle or that car or whatever, and it's funny because when you actually have the thing, it's never as good as when you imagine what it was going to be like, because the imagination has the fulfillment already included in it.
Hmm.
So it's just this timeless appearance.
Only once. and not really.
But that's the awe. That's the awe.
Yeah.
would you say it's kind of like a game that is being played with itself?
A game, but there's no rules. There's no goal, and there are no players. And then that's the game.
But it's like this could be anything, right?
Yeah, I know I've said that, and that's, I think, again, something. You've been listening to old videos. I think that's also a little misleading, because it's not really what I think that doesn't really capture it anymore like I thought it did then. In the sense that there's nothing behind us or holding it together. It has no need to be what it is. It has no history to it. In the history to it has no history to it. It's just fresh and new. In that sense, it's not restricted by needing to be something. And then I was saying it could be anything, but that's not I think what I just said captures the the sense of it a little better.
Seems that the volition or the sense of it's always so scary when you say it's always like right behind or that's not behind. No, it's not actually behind. It feels like it is because
Well,
it's
that's
like,
that's the sense that it's somewhere else. So the sense of here is the sense that there's also somewhere else, like behind.
yeah, or I don't mean positionally. Well, perhaps positionally.
How
but-
could you have behind if you don't have a position?
No, I mean in terms of time.
Yeah. How could you have what?
True,
Position is also time. It's just another expression of time.
but I keep trying to catch up to like.
Well,
to
that's.
take- to
But
find
that's the
it.
sense that something needs to happen or there's something missing, that it's somewhere else. The sense of a position is the sense that there's also somewhere else. And for that separate sense, somewhere else is where what's longed for is hidden. Completely missing that not only is this what's longed for, but it's all there is.
Wow. Okay, so I feel like I'm making this somewhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's, yeah.
That's fucked up. That was a joke. I didn't.
People sometimes refer to like intelligence or some kind of intelligent design or something.
Yeah.
And that aspect seems free from like space or time. That intelligence, is that just a projection of the function of the separate self
Yeah.
onto the idea?
Depends on what they're talking about,
Right.
but sounds like it.
Okay.
I don't know actually. I don't know the context of, because when you talk about it's in my understanding, the intelligent design is an atheist's way of explaining this without having to believe in God. That's how I understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the sense that use the word volition.
Yeah.
Kind of volition imposed on.
But if we were to find out this is all like an alien race,
That'd just be what is.
that would just be it. That would.
That's just what is. It makes no difference.
Right. So it could.
What's that?
So it could be a simulation.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't matter. All of those are just trying to find out in the way. It's trying to have the individual. A lot of the efforts to try to answer questions is a sense of control, feeling safe, to understand. I want to know if this is a simulation or an extraterrestrial race or something like that.
Just another God, really.
Yeah,
Because now we live in technological times, so if this is a simulation, it's technology.
yeah,
God or whatever.
yeah,
But the simulation would still require something else to create this.
yeah. Well, assimilation is a creation. Yeah.
Is this God?
Yeah, but that's not what we're talking about. God is still a story. But yeah, all there is God being God.
God being nothing.
No, it's nothing appearing as
Oh, nothing appearing
God.
as God.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
or absence.
Is there nothing? Could we say it's divine or it's sacred in some way?
I just think that's too much. For me, that imposes something on it. It gives it a color.
It seems like we can understand things to a certain extent. Like,
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can take a microscope and look into a cell and see how it works.
Yeah.
And, like, you can describe evolution and look at fossils, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
say the universe is 14 billion years old and started with a big
Well, it might be 28.
whatever. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It is. But that it all seems so ordered and predictable.
Well, but if you go into quantum physics, they will tell you that there's no free will because there's only 4 fundamental particles and those act randomly.
Right.
So everything is built on 4 particles or elements or whatever they are. I don't know.
Or like vibrating strings of nothing.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. But that's what I've got. There's 4 elemental particles and they act randomly. And everything is built on that randomness. But all of that's still up here.
Yeah, I find a similar, a similar thing when I like try to like analyze the words. It's like what quantum physicists say they find when they look into particles. Even when you look into the subatomic particles, there's nothing. Essentially, they say when you go further and further, there's nothing. So when I go and I try to like extract something from the words or like try to find the meaning of like nothing, or this or whatever, it's just like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
How could nothing seem so real if it's nothing?
Well, it just does.
There's no answer to that.
No. But it only seems real to that separate sense.
So without separate sense, it's
Obviously not real.
obvious.
It is, but it isn't real.
You know what? I guess it's psychiatry. What they call depersonalization.
Yeah.
Disorder. I think.
Yeah.
Or derealization. Something like that.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about that?
Oh, of course, because people keep telling me that's what I am.
You know,
So I went in, and I actually spoke to a couple of psychiatrists about it when we were going into. No, I'm just kidding. No, but people that talk to me on the phone, you know, I asked a couple of people. It's fear-based.
it's fear-based.
Yeah, it has something to do with fear. It's a reaction to a fear.
Oh, like trauma.
Yeah, yeah.
I see.
Yeah. Well, that's what they said. I don't know.
But does it to you sound like they're apologizing this?
Oh no, I don't think so. No, I think it's just something completely different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've heard you say, Jim, that it's not about non-attachment.
Yeah.
And it does seem that attachment can be a function of the me or a product, but also not. Also, like, you're attached to, the body's attached to food in the sense that
Oh
it
yeah.
needs it.
Yeah.
Would you say, and also perhaps people, but people maybe would be more attached by me. But in your experience with people, like, do you get attached to people?
Oh.
And then,
I think there's probably what would you call it? It's not. I don't want to use the word getting used to, but there's probably a sense of getting used to certain things.
habit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then are you sad when things seemingly end?
Just to be clear, you aren't actually talking to a person, right?
Dude, what?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I understand. But well, there's enough time to be someone.
I know, but it's like
You
I
don't
feel
know
like I'm
that.
someone.
Oh, yeah.
You
Well,
know, so it's like I can't even imagine what that's like.
no, you can't. It's not imaginable. It's too simple to be imagined. But I didn't get the question. I forgot the question.
Oh, it's just like, do you get attached to people, or do you get sad?
Oh, there's getting used to certain things, and sadness. Anything can arise. Yeah. But there isn't anyone getting sad.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes I fear certain like emotions.
Oh, totally. As
Yeah.
an individual, it's afraid of a lot.
Yeah.
But in the end, what it's afraid of is loss. And so if it's afraid of emotion, it's a loss of equilibrium or a loss of feeling good or whatever it is. In the end, it's all death.
Yeah.
But loss to the individual is death. So it's a fear that has everything to do with loss.
Well, it's weird because like, if sometimes I'm afraid of being sad, and then I'm actually get sad because I can't help it, then it's actually not at all as bad as is actually, maybe enjoyable, or cathartic.
Yeah.
Or
But you just told me a story. There was no one ever that ever got sad.
You got me. That was
Jim, there's the appearance, as you just said, is sadness.
Appearance of sadness. There's appearance of
There's
sadness.
appearance of sadness. But I've also heard you say that there's no such thing as, known for this, no such thing as consciousness, no such thing as experience, and no such thing as knowing.
That's not quite it.
I might be linking them all together.
Yeah.
I kind of get that there is no knower, there's no experience, and there's no duality in it. There's just like sadness appears, consciousness, I would think, the way it feels here, or arises here, seems to arise. No one being conscious. But is there still in that sense of sadness and experience, a sense of separation that just has to flow out of it? Or can those things arise without a sense of separation?
Oh yeah. Well, consciousness, obviously only arises for the person. The sense that there's a consciousness is a personal experience. It's personal. But sadness isn't personal.
Yeah, it's more emotional. Consciousness, I'm trying to get it as you're talking. It does seem to be a conceptual thing. I have to create. I am conscious. I don't think I can do it without that.
No.
Yeah, it really doesn't work. That
No.
way. Yeah. One other thing we talked there earlier on. You said, well, "What is it? That I am the cup." I think I am the trees. I'm the flowers.
I'm everything.
I'm everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, if
Yeah,
you,
someone said that. I'm everything.
So yeah, someone said that, and I think a lot of people can relate to that story. It is a story because I have that story many. Oh, I was 15. I was walking on the beach, and the campfire, and it was 38 seconds, and it came to realize I never had that because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever it was just a story that was created later. But what that was, there was just a total, again, I know it's a story, but there was a sense there was total lack of separation of any kind. So
Yeah.
that's what I meant when I made the story up. I was the cup, I was this, I am. There just was no separation. There was nobody there to be separated. It took me a long
Totally.
time to realize.
Yeah.
But there is somehow a longing for that, and I think that's always in the background. As
Oh,
much as I
totally.
try to go, there's nobody here to long for it. There's nothing other than this.
Yeah, that's just this.
But it just spins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what the individual uses to try to.
What does it use?
Uses that glimpse
Oh,
to
yeah.
try to access this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
Which can't be accessed because it already is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
still trying to go there.
Where is there?
You show me.
But if I could show you, it'd have to be separate, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So why?
Can't be shown.
Because it's this.
My heart's beating fast.
Oh.
If the mind or the apparent mind is creating that sense of that apparent sense of wanting to go back to that certain experience of the supposed lack of separation, like aren't there apparent practices as well to stop the apparent mind from doing that?
So what?
Yeah, it wouldn't
So-
change this, right?
Well, it wouldn't get rid of the sense of separation. That would be therapy. Nothing right or wrong with therapy, but no reason to do it or not to do it. Just either happens or doesn't.
Like if someone, for example, or there was the appearance of the body in the meditation posture, and then the apparent thoughts focusing on the apparent breath, couldn't that lead to?
If you're thinking about the breath, we're a bit far away from meditating. But anyway.
Well, attention on the apparent attention. not
Attention,
thinking.
that's better.
Yes, attention.
Come
there you
on,
go.
man.
Not thinking about it. You got me there. Wouldn't that apparently lead to the end of that? The mind chewing over that past experience.
Yeah, it does actually.
Okay.
And
If someone wanted to get rid of that, they could do this apparent.
well, I actually think that sort of practice needs a certain character to pull it off.
What kind of character?
Well, somebody that has a determination, the ability to focus and maintain, put the attention somewhere and maintain that. So it's a character thing to be able to do that.
I see.
The reason we all came to this meeting is because we want to know what you're talking about.
Right. And the way it is here, no one came to the meeting. There's just sitting in a room, apparently. And those two worlds, that's what the questions and the response is about.
Right, like even if I can kind of understand what you're saying, there's still this subtle feeling that maybe something will happen.
Yeah. Oh, it's more than a subtle feeling. It's a need. It's a need for something to happen. The individual feels like something has to happen for this to be free or to be what's longed for.
Right. Which is like fundamentally uncomfortable to feel that way.
Absolutely. Discontent. Yeah.
Jim, you hear accounts of people who have had some kind of shift or transmission experience.
Transmission, don't know about that.
Or whatever, however you want to phrase it. But it seems like there's a belief that there's going to be some kind of equanimity that comes after. And when I think part of what we're all drawn to when we come to these meetings is...
There's no we. So what are you drawn to?
Sure. But in that, there seems to be a peace or equanimity.
Yeah.
But I've heard other accounts that people have had experiences where it can lead to like psychosis or a complete sort of rupture of their normal life.
Yeah.
So what do you think's happening in those cases?
Well, it's a difference between what happens generally. I've heard somebody called an unwanted initiation. Anyway, an awakening. So often there's this initial thing that happens. That's similar, like I talked about, LSD in college. That's similar to that. Oh, it's all different, but it wasn't. That was very simple. It's all different. An awakening can be very different for very, very different people. It can go on for apparent months, or and can have broad ramifications. And sometimes that cohesive, I'd call it, don't hold on to this, but let's call it an ego. This sort of thing that holds the character, that holds everything together, that sort of, is the functioning of the body. That can break apart a bit. It can be really disruptive, that sort of awakening. So the end of the me, which isn't a thing, is not actually disruptive at all, because there isn't much left of the me. We're telling each other a story about, a me getting less and less. But that can seem to happen in an awakening. I don't know anyone that actually didn't function after that. I know of people who didn't function for a while after that, but not like for a long time. Yeah.
But also it wouldn't matter.
Well, it doesn't actually happen.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is functioning doesn't happen. Or
It doesn't matter, no. Nothing does. There isn't actually anything happening.
yeah.
It was a story.
In other words, I mean, like there wouldn't be anybody left that would scramble around to try to get their life
Oh, well, with an
back.
awakening, but I think that is the disorienting part. If there wasn't any me, there would be no disorientation, because there isn't anyone doing anything anyway. They're just
Oh, so
functioning.
the
But with an
disorienting is
awakening,
coming back.
the me coming back and nothing making sense anymore.
So you would already say that this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, it's not perceptible that this is nothing.
It's not perceptible. This is
No.
but this is not.
Yeah,
But it's not
perceptible. No.
because you can't perceive nothing.
No. It's not an experience. Freedom, the absolute, the infinite, absence aren't experiences.
But the me can only know experience.
Yeah. Well, it is fundamentally experience.
So, the ultimate, the infinite, the absence, nothing. It's noumena. So are you saying that it is just totally unexperienceable?
Yeah.
Right. And what we can experience is just this.
Yeah. But the experience.
Forget the we part.
But the
this,
the experience of this is what the individual will call now.
the appearance.
But
Go ahead.
so there's an appearance, there's an appearance, but there's no experience of it. And then there's an apparent appearance where there's an experience of it. And the experience of it is duality,
Mm-hmm.
an illusion.
But the experience of it is also the appearance.
Oh yeah.
So it's very circular.
Oh, I don't find that bit circular, but yeah, generally circular.
Like going back to the expecting something to happen.
Yeah.
You could then take that and say, okay, nothing needs to happen, so I'm just gonna feel the body or whatever.
Oh, but that's making something happen.
Right. So that feels circular. 'Cause
Oh,
then
totally.
there's-
Absolutely.
there's
That is
nowhere
the
to go
circular
in
bit.
that-
That's right.
in that
And
loop.
there's no way to stop it.
There's no way to stop it.
No.
So then,
I know.
So the duality, the non-duality, the duality is part of it. It's not excluded from
No,
it. There's nothing
exactly.
wrong with it. There's nothing bad with it. It is the illusion that is apparently
Yeah.
there. That's so it's fine.
Yeah, well,
Well, it's not. Is it well or is
it's
it
not fine because there isn't anything that's fine.
Okay.
There isn't any right or wrong,
Right.
but it is what appears.
Yeah.
And it's not right or wrong.
Mhm.
It's just what appears. There's just the appearance of separation.
so like, there's no way to stop it. So then you say, okay, I'm just gonna give up trying to stop it. But there's nowhere to give up. So there's absolutely nowhere to even like begin to go anywhere.
No.
You say the appearance of separation. Is it the appearance of the belief in separation? Or
No, it's not a belief.
Or not belief.
I mean, belief has a part of it, but it isn't fundamentally a belief. It's actually in the body. It's in the body. In embodied belief, yeah. Exactly. Okay, thanks.
Can there really be these appearances without, even though there's no one they could appear to? Is that how it is?
Oh, yeah, that's exactly how it is.
But kind of on that point, there can't be appearances without life forms that have senses.
Oh, okay. There's just what is, and that either is an appearance. That's just whatever is, which is also not. It's nothing.
So no one is seeing anything right now, but there is sight, there is appearances though, visual appearances, but no one is seeing it.
Is judgment also still there?
Yeah, not the same. For me, there's a particular kind of judgment which relates to its story of what this is about. And so people that follow the same belief system, they're good, and people that don't are bad. And because there's no longer, without that separate sense, there is no story of what this is about. So that sort of judgment goes.
But do you still vote?
No, well, no one votes, but this body is going to vote. Now we're getting down to the important things.
Is it important?
Nothing is. It was a joke.
No, but really, why I mean, I never vote probably I will vote.
Well, no one votes, but voting happens or it doesn't happen.
Okay, it is just an individual or.
Well, there isn't an individual.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah, and this is saying there isn't an individual.
But here it goes, it's just all words.
Excuse me?
Only words.
Yeah.
So Jim, when this gentleman was saying that there's nothing you can do to make it stop, I think those are the words, or nothing you can do, but it stopped there, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because sometimes, I think I remember you saying once that you were resonating with the things Tony was saying, but you felt somehow that you needed help.
Huh. I don't think I said that.
Like there was a sense, like you knew you couldn't get it, but you knew you were resonating, but yeah.
Well, there was something that was already clear here, and that for me, in that it doesn't happen.
Okay.
That was already clear. It was clear. There was an awakening
Right.
in my 20s, and it was clear that it doesn't actually happen.
Yeah.
It's not, in a sense, you could say it's not connected to the sense of duality, but that's not really quite right. It is the sense of duality, so there isn't any real separation or anywhere to go. It's the same as a leaf falling or anything else. It doesn't create a new reality. So we're not talking about creating a new reality. It's just another apparent happening that doesn't happen to anyone. It just happens to be the sense of separation no longer appears, revealing that there never was a sense of separation. And something else, it's not that you can't do anything. It's that there isn't a you.
So whatever's happening is happening.
Yeah. Only apparently, though.
Yeah.
But it's always deepening itself, no? I mean, deepening happens, like you told me just before that you, in earlier videos, you taught something else.
I wouldn't call that deepening. That's actually just, there's some sort of clarification, with responses and things that just gets clearer in some way. There isn't a deepening, though. No. Deepening would be another story. It's nothing. All there is nothing.
Okay.
It really sucks that nothing's happening, but to someone, something's really happening.
I
It's
know.
happening more than anything else.
Well, that's all that's happening is something. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's total. If there's a sense of separation, the sense of something, of what's happening being real, is total.
Yeah, there's realness. It's very real.
Yeah.
It feels more real than anything else.
Yeah.
Like the recall of a glimpse or something.
Oh, well, it's all the same.
Yeah.
The appearance is nothing appearing already. When there's a sense of me or a separation, anything that appears, a memory, a chair, anything else, that the sense is, it's real in the same sense that I'm real. It's the same.
Jim, if someone were to have a dream of this exact meeting, would that dream be more, less, or equally as real as this current meeting?
Yeah, well, it depends. Nothing is real.
So equally as unreal.
Oh,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
Or equally as real. The crux is if there's someone seeing it or not, having it or not. That's the distortion, apparent distortion. That's what creates the longing.
The dream could take place even without that, without it being centered on a me, just as this takes place without it being centered to anyone.
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
It only apparently takes place.
Right. So could we say that this is a dream? I know I think you've said previously you don't like that term.
No.
And why is it that you don't?
It isn't a dream. It isn't an effect of anything.
Yeah, is it that a dream requires a dreamer?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yesterday, you a few times or maybe a couple of times you used the phrase unconditional love.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite sure what you were. Are you making a distinction between the me seeking conditional love or whatever? Is that what you're?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Could you elaborate though on that phrase, unconditional love? Why you bring that up or what that?
Oh, because in the love, as I'm talking about, has no conditions. The personal love is basically conditions.
So it's the conditions, right? It's the me that brings the conditions.
Yeah.
So then you have to look at the unconditional too.
Well, you can't.
No.
No, it's not. It's also not an experience.
Right. It's not really an awareness of it, but unconditional love is.
You can't be aware of it.
No, but you can experience it.
No.
No, because there is always a judgment. You want always to have something, and even your.
You could say that unconditional love is the substance, and it's not, in which everything happens. But nothing happens. No, it is. It's not a substance, but it's almost like that.
Right, I see.
It's unconditional.
I see.
Everything happens in love, apparently.
Right. There are no conditions.
No, there's no condition.
Why not just say
Unconditional? Love has a bit of a... It is unconditional. I don't know how to describe it, but when these things become obvious, then it's obviously timeless, unconditional, obviously spaceless, movementless, happening. And those all, and free, unrecognizably free. It just obviously is that. I mean, it doesn't come from anywhere, it's just unrecognizably free.
the Sufis call it the beloved, I guess. I guess beloved implies.
Yeah, it does. But yeah.
But it's love because it's just for the hell of it. There's no reason for it.
No, it's love because there isn't any, what love would be if it were perfect. And this is, what we're talking about is perfect love. It's unconditional. Unconditionality is love.
But there's no reason for anything.
No.
It's just for fun.
Well, it's not for anything, really.
It's for the hell of it.
No.
It's like, why not?
No, it's not for anything.
Can't say that.
If it were for fun, then not being fun wouldn't be excluded. If it was for the hell of it, then if something has appeared serious, then that would be excluded. It's not for anything. Yeah. I mean, it's freedom beyond comprehension. And what the me can't recognize is that's all that's happening. Freedom beyond comprehension, including that. It's all freedom beyond comprehension. It's already done.
Could you say that life is like a form of art?
Oh, yeah.
Too, like, reductive?
No, I absolutely get the same sense. But life in the sense that this, all there is life, and this is life appearing as this, and this is art. Yeah. Yeah.
And art would be unconditional love.
Yeah.
Would you say it's creativity, or is that a step too far?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure where, how that's different, but yeah, I definitely. So if we're talking about it, all I can do is talk about the sense of it here, and the sense of creativity is sort of like inspiration, and that sort of awe is what this is. The inspiration of creativity, whatever you want to call it, that sort of thing, definitely.
It's kind of weird to think of yourself as like being in art or whatever.
An art form.
Yeah, it's like in Harry Potter. Like
Andrew, the art form.
So weird.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if someone asked this already, but like, we like as seekers of like this message, like I guess there's no seeker, but like we can't really help but try to like apply this message, even if it's like it's unapplicable. Like it's just like I'm trying to accept this moment for what it is, so I don't have to accept the moment, but it has to happen now, so it's not future. I don't know, like.
You're describing what he said.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a little circle of trying not to try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Earlier you were saying that like I don't remember like that like there's no way to know that this is nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, in a sense, like this is all just like kind of like an arbitrary experience, and there's movement and color and like so much complexity that's all luminous, and like isn't that like enough evidence for no thing?
No, not the no thing that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Because there is no evidence for no
Yeah.
thing.
When you say no thing or nothing, do you mean in a sense no substantiality? Is that kind of the definition?
No. Absence, absolute, infinite. It can't be comprehended. But not because it's somewhere else. Not because it's not also there. It's because it's not separate. It is the fundamentally what's happening is nothing. So there isn't anything separate to comprehend it, because it would be the comprehension.
The appearances, though, they seem to lack a certain substantiality to them, or
Oh,
they seem to
totally.
lack
Well,
a certain
they don't
existence.
have any substantiality.
Right.
I was with this story. It was a body work.
Yeah, I didn't think you had any friends.
She is a body worker, and she told me a story about that beliefs live in the fascia of the body.
Ray, she does Rolfing.
She does, yeah, Rolfing's
Yeah.
that word, yeah.
Yeah,
And
they talk about fascia.
yeah,
the Rolfers do.
Yeah, it sounded really cool.
Yeah.
But so she suggested that there's something you can.
That's why Rolfing hurts so much. They're trying to get the belief out.
I just wanted to hurt because you're like, oh, I just
Yeah, get rid of the belief.
I guess you would say that that embodied belief that we refer to is untouchable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
Well, because it isn't objectifiable to the want to touch it.
So it's not attachment.
It's, well,
I mean,
in a sense it is. It's
everything.
actually, yeah, it is. It's the whole, it's in all the bits.
Can you say what you just said again? I cut you off, sorry. It's unobservable. to the
Yeah,
person that's observing.
because it's, yeah,
It
that's
is
right. It's the one that wants to know.
No thing is unconditional love.
Well, everything is. Yeah.
You know what I'm trying anyway.
Jim, you said earlier today, I guess a story, awakening in my 20s.
Yeah.
Is that story the realization that it's not what Tony was saying, where the me fell away or died, but rather the awakening is that there wasn't a me to actually fall away.
Yeah. Oh, it had lots more in it. I mean, it was like this big drama.
It was a singular event of something?
Well, it lasted for a while.
I see,
A
okay.
while.
So it was the culmination of that, or that was the, if you can say time, or whatever, that was the fulcrum, or that was the point where you made your body.
No. So the me came back after that. So there was an awakening, and that's what I was talking about before, that's generally how it goes in the story, that there's a certain awakening which often then leads to a bit of a difficult situation in that this isn't about what it always seemed to be, but then that separate sense comes back and it claims it is. And so you got these two things going on of, I know it's not about this, but the sense is it is. And so that that can go on for a while.
Right, I see. Interesting.
You said that this isn't for anything.
No.
This sense of freedom felt almost overwhelming.
Yeah.
remember being a kid and getting into a big argument with my mom, and over something really dumb, but I ended up saying I didn't ask to be born as like the ultimate like, got you. It does kind of feel sometimes like
Sounds very teenage. Right?
It's kind of like a burden. Like, I have to go to work. Like, okay, this is all. There's no one doing anything, but I still gotta.
It's the idea that there's no one doing anything is a concept as long as there's a sense of someone,
It's all concepts.
and it's not applicable.
It's not applicable.
No, what we're talking about isn't applicable because it is already. The the concepts and the idea that it's applicable is just a confirmation that there's a sense of separation that thinks it's not already, or feels it's not already. I'll just in closing, I'd like to say there's literally nothing that we've talked about that has any value as far as taking it with you and trying to practice it or know it or hold on to it. There's nothing fundamentally has any value anyway. And there isn't anyone that could possibly hold on to anything. I mean, that's the dream of me, is I'm holding on or I know something. All we've talked about and all that's being pointed to is that what's longed for is already what's happening. It's all that's happening. And whatever apparently is happening, it is in essence what's longed for. It is wholeness, it is complete. And every step, every car, every elevator, it's all wholeness. And everything is saying the same thing. I'm nothing. This is complete. It's done.